the goal. Goalkeeper missed it. He does a right hand and down goes Woodhall straight away. Elsewhere. Young Isabella, but the Fiasi.
Oh, what a point to end it on.
So now gives us winner at the bench. There's winner 12 years for this. So drink it in.
Still goes to Auckland, New Zealand.
What he loves to be immortality as an athlete. 19.79. It's a goal. It's 8 goals.
We have a lot, of course, on our menu this evening. We'll take a short break, and then when we come back from this break, of course, we'll go straight to all that we need to know are evolving around the world of sports this evening. Please stay with us.
Oh, what a point to end it on.
So now gives us winner at the bench. There's winner 12 years for this. So drink it in.
Still goes to Auckland, New Zealand.
What he loves to be immortality as an athlete. 19.79. It's a goal. It's 8 goals.
Welcome back as the Sports Extraordinary on Atlantic Television Network. And of course, I told you we have a lot for you this evening, but I'm not alone here. I have Michael Emmanuel. So we're good evening to you, Michael, and welcome to another exciting edition of Sports Extraordinary.
Yeah, good evening, Kinsley, and good evening to our viewers out there. Always a great moment to do this with you.
A great moment and a great time, of course, to have you on the show, Michael. Let's quickly take a look at what the sports minister talking about John Waneno is doing at the moment. We hear the Minister for Sport Development, Senator John Waneno, yesterday inaugurated the main organizing industry could work in other climes. There is no reason it should not work in Nigeria. Michael, let's stop there. First of all, what do you make of the committee being put up ahead of the 32nd edition of the National Sport Festival?
The committee, talking about the committee, I think I was able to go through those lists. I was careful to take a look at the names of those, members as those that were
for the organization, as well as the federal government also putting up money in the event. And it's saying that they should try most of the can this time to look into the business side of for the national sports, but that after 22 years, the minister believed that the National Sports Festival is now lucrative enough, to attract, sponsors. I don't know if you agree with that.
I totally agree with the minister, because for them to scavenge on our common patrimony, because after all they say, okay, government is government money, therefore let us just do it the way we like. I mean, we should grow beyond that. This is new era, and I also love what the sports minister is doing, talking about John Waneno, who has been working around the clock to make sure that there is a massive improvement in the areas of our sporting arena. And for me, some of these states and personnel that are involved to help him also to translate his vision to reality, because there is one thing, it is one thing for the sport minister to be working his fingers to the bone to make sure improve our sporting activity, whereas there's some other person out there that will be doing something that seems to be as though they are punctuating the effort of the minister. So for me, I think we should see this as in that light that sport has grown beyond just looking at it as a mere recreational thing, but decide to share the money among themselves instead of using it for the purpose to which it is meant for. So for me, I think we should be looking at the vision of the sport minister and also try to help him to actualize this vision. And by so doing, I tell you, our sporting arena will develop and it will improve massively.
All right, Michael, you are a stakeholder, in this, especially when it comes to sports. People look out for the way forward.
Yeah.
Just like the sports minister has definitely put up this, and we're here talking about the way forward, for this. But taking a look at the National Sports Festival, how do you think, in what way do you think sponsors can actually come in? When there's, is it that lucrative? Because just like we used to talk, we used to, talk about, we normally talk about when it comes to things like this,
Yeah.
every investor actually need, returns at the end of the day. Because if a particular company or a brand comes to sponsor this particular edition of the National Sports Festival that will be coming up next year, he or she at least will need something in return.
A way that it can be sellable, not just to Nigeria, but to the world.
Yeah.
Because there's a way we can actually package this thing. People can get to watch it online. People
True.
can stream it online. If not on the normal terrestrial television, people can stream it online, and it will go worldwide, thereby attracting many companies out there to want to put their money in. And that is why
Sponsor. And as well, you talk about visibility, being on TV is an avenue where the National Sport Festival will be sold, to the world. Athletes are also being recognized. Some of the athletes that will be participating. And of course, maybe they can possibly pick one of the athletes that is very outstanding.
Yeah.
This athlete will be representing Rivers State.
Yes.
He has done this, he has done this, he has done that. All Rivers people will be anticipating, reading more about that athlete and trying to know more. And at the end of the day, you see, Rivers State, the Rivers people will travel all the way from here at Rivers State to Ogun State.
Yeah.
Just to watch that athlete.
And if they did not travel, they can also attend languages right here in River State. Do you know the amount of followership that such an athlete will get, even before next year's National Olympic game? So these are things that we need to put in place. And for me, like I said, the sport minister, since he came on board, he has been working around the clock to ensure that there is a massive growth and improvement in the area of our sporting art. We have seen that in his body language. We've not just seen that, not just in his body language, in his action as well. So for me, I think there is need for us to help him as well. And the media, we need to also do our part as well. The federal government as well need to look at the angle of. So that is the primary aim. So for me, I think we need to, whenever Cross River Calabar is having their carnival, and the revenue that is accrued by courtesy of that show, that entertainment alone, is a plus to the states. We can also replicate this when it has to do with sport. Talking about the National Sport Festival, we can actually do a whole lot to improve the cost of this game and to also improve the cost of revenue for the states and for the federal as well.
All right, so a lot on the National Sport Festival. It comes up next year in Ogun State. I tell you, the Minister of Sport, John Wanino, is really much optimistic of getting something from this one, especially the business side of it. Keep our fingers crossed and see how this one will bounce out at the end of the day. But let's bring you some tidbits coming from cricket. As Nigerian men's senior cricket team, the Yellow Greens have moved 4 places up in the latest International Cricket Council T20 rankings from 42nd to 38th in the world, and also become the 7th ranked team in Africa. The Yellow Greens progress is connected to their recent performance at the West African Trophy tournament in Lagos, where they won all their 10 matches against Ghana. They were alone and Rwanda to win the maiden title. In their last 25 games, the Yellow Greens have amassed 1,860 points with a rating of 74. The African countries ahead of Nigeria on the continent are South Africa, Zimbabwe, Namibia, Uganda, and Tanzania, while India lead the world with a rating of 265 from 61 matches. The Yellow Greens will hope to improve their ranking during the International Cricket Council T20 World Cup African qualifier slated for November 20th to December 1st in Namibia. In the women's game, the female Yellow Greens at 30th position in the world and 8th in Africa is bettered by South Africa, Zimbabwe, Namibia, Uganda, Tanzania, Kenya, and Rwanda. Australia led the pack in the women's T20, and the female Yellow Greens will also be seeking Uganda by December before returning home for the Nigerian Cricket Federation Women International Invitational Tournament in February. But the Yellow Greens and the female Greens will feature at the maiden edition of cricket inclusion at the African Games in Ghana in March 2024. Impressive developments, Michael, in cricket down here in Nigeria.
I think it's a great one, and let's hope that they keep this up going forward. But the issue is that most time when they go out and have this kind of a good display out there and they come back, we hail them, you know, because of their heroics. But the men behind the scene who are saddled with the responsibility of seeing that hockey actually grows and cricket grows and get to the next level. Most time they don't even care. We just herald them whenever they do well, you know, and at the end of it all, we don't even hear any other thing positive about it. Well, when next we start to hear them is probably when we are about to head to, you know, next competition or championship. That is when they will rally around to try assemble them. I think this is a great you know, move, seeing that you know, they've climbed up the ladder, and if we continue in this progression, I assure you in the near future to come, I think will be a force to be reckoned with, sitting at a 7th position in Africa, right? They were able to defeat the likes of Ghana, Tanzania, just name it. So for me, I see a future in cricket here in Nigeria, only if the authority can actually keep up to the pace of the game.
The future in cricket down here in Nigeria. Look forward to see how, of course, the Cricket Federation will go down in the future. A lot, I tell you, to talk about the Super Falcons of Nigeria. Take a break now. Please stay with us. We'll be right back.
Greenwoods with the goal. Goalkeeper missed it. Play again. Oh, fight there. He does a right hand and down goes Paul straight away. That's some air.
Hey, welcome back to Sport Extraordinary on Atlantic Television Network, and of course, we're bringing the latest revolving round the world of sports at the moment. But let's talk about the Super Falcons of Nigeria. While the Nigerian Football Federation continues to keep fans in suspense over the contract situation of Round the Wardrobe, some members so far the Super Falcons have backed the American to remain as the head coach of the team. Wardrobe took over the Falcons' job in 2020 after he signed a 3-year deal with the Federation, which ended October 31st. In September, it was reported that the NFF had begun contract renewal talks with Wardrobe, who led the former African champions to a round of 16 finish outside the 2023 Women's World Cup in Australia and New Zealand in August. Now, Wardrobe was not on the bench during the Falcons 2024 Paris Olympic qualifiers against Ethiopia, with reports suggesting that he had a personal issue to attend to. While they are yet to announce the departure for the coach, the NFF has equally kept mute on the continuity of the American. Michael, what do you make of the Randy Wardrobe?
I think the way that the NFF has gone about this, for me, I'm very disappointed and you know, disgraceful to say the least, because you know, I'm one of those opinion that the policy of hiring and firing coaches here in Nigeria, I think is not going quite well. And some of those players in the Super Falcons, they have come out to say that they are in support that the coach should stay. Clearly tells you the unity the synergy and the affection that the players have with the coach. And when players, have this kind of affinity with the coach, then be rest assured that whenever they head for, national competition, they are going to give out their best. Why? Because they feel that the coach is someone that can relate with them, a coach that understands them very well. So for some of those players to come out to, throw their weight behind the coach, it clearly tells you that indeed there is this chemistry and a synergy that is existing between the coach and the contract of Randy Wardrum, so that he will stay and build a formidable team. Because don't forget, female football is improving in Africa, and Nigeria is though we say that we are a force to be reckoned with, but from what we've seen in the last African Nations Cup, it is very clear that other African nations are also upping their game. And if Nigeria is not very static with a coach, then we find it difficult to compete at the highest level, not only here in Africa, but in the world. So for me, I think the Wardrobe truly deserves to be given a new contract so that he can be able to continue with this crop of players and continue to build a philosophy and a legacy that we can truly say that whenever our Super Falcons is heading for national duty, we can be rest assured that they are going to give out their best. Because if you start Randy Wardrum right now and bring in a new coach, it will alter the solidity, it will alter the chemistry of the team, because a new coach will come with a new pattern. And some of these players will find it difficult to adjust. So for me, I think that the coach contract should be renewed, and NFF should do that as fast as possible, because his contract has elapsed. In the last 2 games that we played, he was not there to be found, and they did not come out to tell Nigerians what seems to be the problem. They are keeping us in a fence, in the dark. So for me, it is not good for the Super Falcons. The World Cup qualifier and some other Nations Cup qualifier is just need for NFF to come out playing and give him a new contract so that he can continue with the girls.
Let's see how this one goes. Of course, the girls are clamoring that the NFF should renew the contract of Randy Wardrum. Keep our fingers crossed on this. But talking about Randy Wardrum, in the last Women's FIFA ranking released in August, the 9-time African champions moved up 8 places from 40th to 32nd, following their impressive performance at 2023 Women's World Cup, where they reached the knockout stage for the 10th time the history of the competition. This is courtesy of Randy Wardrum prowess with the girls. Well, let's stay away from that as we take a look at the situation at Manchester United at the moment. Not a very good time for one of the players down there, talking about Jordan Sancho. We hear that the embattled star, talking about Jordan Sancho, the man, of course, has been removed, yes, from the WhatsApp group, the players' WhatsApp group of Manchester United, as it says. Michael, I don't know what you make of this. First of all, the man was actually being sidelined from training with the first team of Manchester United, and as well, he was actually being sidelined from taking dinner with the players, probably going to the eatery with the players, and was subjected to training with the what's it called, the Fidesz team. I don't know what you make of this situation now.
Sancho is too harsh for me, and no thanks to Eric Ten Hag, lack of man management and his overbearing influence on some players out there. I think he's not getting it right when it has to do with man management. He lacks that quality to manage, players. There's a way you treat, already made stars, and there's a way you treat, some rookies that are still, coming up. It's quite different. When he was at Ajax, he had a couple of young stars, and there's a way you relate and treat those. There's a way you also relate and treat these players. So for me, I feel that Jordan Sancho has been, not fairly treated. First, they bar him from training with the first team squad. Second, they bar him from coming to the usual canteen where all the first team players, come to eat. Third was that they have also relegated him to the academy team to train there with the under-23.
And now
they have removed him from the WhatsApp group. What it means is that if the coach is having, let him go, other than treating him this way, because I feel that this kind of treatment toward a player is too harsh. What was his crime? That the coach came to the media to say, to accuse the player that he has not been training. Shortly after their, loss against.
He said he has not been performing well in training.
Yes, to which the player just came out also to give a rejoinder to that fact that I've been training very well. It's like the coach is not saying the right thing, because for me, I tarnish his career, because the young man was doing well at Borussia Dortmund before Manchester United went for him. So I feel that this kind of treatment is too harsh for Jordan Sancho. If they are not in need of his services, terminate his contract on a mutual consent and let him go. That is what I feel.
Well, a lot of players down there at United, and as well the staff as well at United, they are pleading with him to apologize to Ten Hag, because Ten Hag is saying
because after apologizing and he'd be relegated to the bench without taking part in any minute, what difference does it make? So for me, I think both divide of the party, they have made up their mind. Hence, Ten Hag is not ready to back down. Jordan Sancho also is not ready to back down. So I feel the best possible thing for them to do is to terminate his contract in a mutual agreement. Let both parties go either way. Hence, none of them is willing to back down.
All right, let's quickly stay away from the issue between Ten Hag and Jordan Sancho, probably Manchester United and Jordan Sancho as it is. Let's talk about the UEFA Champions League. Michael, was interesting UEFA Champions League night yesterday as Borussia Dortmund. Of course, they actually dented the hope at some point of Newcastle of making it to the group, to the next round of for the UEFA Champions League. 2-0. It ended in favor for Borussia Dortmund yesterday.
A typical display from Borussia Dortmund, coming at the back heel of suffering a heavy defeat against their local rival, talking about Bayern Munich in the German Bundesliga in the last weekend. They came into that game with full strength and annoyance, and that is why they vented that anger against Newcastle. And this leaves Newcastle in a very tight situation right now in that group on qualifying from that group. It's very, very difficult for them, like I see. But then again, I want to also say that it's a great one for Borussia Dortmund. They just told Newcastle that they know how to play the Champions League. Newcastle, they are coming also at the back heel of not testing Champions League football for over 20 years. Making it this time around courtesy of their good performance last season, and that is why they made it to the top 4 to be able to play the Champions League. But the Champions League is a stage where you don't make mistakes. If you do, you will punish for it, and that is what caused them the defeat yesterday.
All right, Shakhtar Donetsk surprisingly defeated Barcelona by 1-0. Michael, did you see that coming?
I did not actually see that one coming, honestly, because Barcelona was riding high. Played 3 games, got 9 points out of those 3 games. Yesterday's game was their 4th game. I thought they were going to run away with the victory, at least to qualify, to make sure they have qualified for the group stage. But then again, they lost. That is football for you. Last time the Barcelona lost to Shakhtar Donetsk was 2008 to 2009 season, and they ended up going to the final and lift the trophy. Let's see if that can replicate itself this season.
AC Milan, of course, beat Paris Saint-Germain by 2-1. An interesting encounter, of course, was yesterday, Michael.
Great one for AC Milan out there. They needed that result to consolidate themselves on the table.
Of course, they lost to RB Leipzig by 2-1. Porto beat Antwerp by 2-0, and we saw that very impressive goal from the veteran defender, talking about Pepe. He became the first player, of course, to try to beat Sevilla once again in tonight's encounter. Bayern Munich will be now against Galatasaray. Copenhagen against Manchester United. Michael received Manchester United in that game, but Copenhagen, they are at home in this one. You see United surviving this one?
Well, for me, I think it's going to be a difficult call for me here, and Manchester United need to put extra work if they can. If they must, I think they will up their ante if truly they want to qualify from the group stage. If not, I see Manchester United drop into the Europa League.
What do you make of it? Arsenal, Sevilla. You see Arsenal, of course, teaching Sevilla what it means to play in the Champions League.
I don't think Sevilla is one team that knows how to play the Champions League, but just that most times they deliberately drop to the Europa League.
Yeah.
Because that is where their strength is.
Yeah.
But for me, I think Sevilla has not been, good this season. They are seated 15th in the La Liga table, having played 11 games. They were able to gather 11 points, and that is to tell you how bad they are this season. But when it has to do with European football, they give out their best. The likes of Ocampo, be rest assured, he will come to the party. The likes of Lamela, Marcos Acuna, the Argentine, Rakitic. These are men that will truly come to the party. Anytime they square up against big team, they always, buckle up their seat belts, and carry their pen and paper and get to the office down to work. So tonight, I expect Sevilla to give Arsenal a very good run.
Of course, it's been a long time we've seen Arsenal in the Champions League.
Sure, at most, that memory of consistently playing the Champions League is still there. The experience is still there. While Arsenal is coming in as a rookie, because for the past 5-6 years, Arsenal have not made it to the Champions League. So making it to the Champions League this time around is going to be a great one for them. But then again, they have a big problem tonight. Why? Because in their midfield, Arsenal last 2 games, it actually showed. When Jorginho and Kai Havertz start for Arsenal, it is always end up in a lose. And for Martin Odegaard not to be in their midfield, tonight, I think it's going to cost them. And again, one important player, talking about Jesus Gabriel, will also be missing in that, Arsenal front line. So you expect that Sevilla
score in the UEFA Champions League against Antwerp. Michael, this is a remarkable feat.
Truly deserving. At the age of 40, years, 256 days, scoring a Champions League goal, I think it's a remarkable feat for him. And one man who has been able to carve a niche for himself, starting from the days of his Real Madrid era. We know how he was able to put up. And this is one man that says, that can never say, it is over until it is over. He fights to the end. Truly deserving.
Truly deserving, of course, for the band of Pepper. We'll be back tomorrow by 9 a.m. for Sports Talk to bring you another exciting stories that are revolving around the world of sports. And special thanks to Michael for really doing justice on the show this evening.
Always a pleasure doing this with you, Kingsley.
Don't forget, peace and unity are always the pathways there to progress. My name is Kingsley Manuel. Thanks for watching.
Point to end it on.
So now it's when they're at their best. And when they're